Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Adam. I'm here with BringItDon, and we are going into the brothel to open these doors and steal some alcohol. Alright, 3 times the charm. If that doesn't work, I'll find my set of keys. Oh, come on. There we go. Take some of the Gorilka, which also gets rid of radiation just like vodka does. Okay. Come on. I want that 33 experience, gosh darn it. There we go. Alright, let's start off by talking to this guy. Guarding the 3 doors to the private rooms of the city's brothels, a solemn man dressed in a black jacket. He is gloomily eyeing the surroundings. How's life here? It's all good. Can I ask you a few questions? No. Alright. Now listen, pal, could you let me and a lady friend of mine in one of your rooms? Not with one of our ladies, I assume. Sure, but it'll cost you. 100 rubles and you can make yourself at home. Come on, man. Why are you being like that? That's a bit too pricey, don't you think? Too pricey? Well, maybe. Fine. I'll give you a 50% discount, but that's my final offer. Alright, well, there's the money. Happy to pay. Hand the money over to the goon. Fine. Go ahead and call your lady friend here. Now be sure the pimps don't make a scene because you're bringing your own lady here, instead of using one of theirs. Mercy. I think mercy means thanks. I've always assumed that's what it meant. No one's ever confirmed or denied that with me. So, let's talk to this well-dressed man. Rubles, condoms, and perfume. You see a middle-aged man with a bushy mustache, full lips, and large eyes, surrounded with a black eyeshadow. He gives you a naughty, lustful look from under his old-fashioned hussar's cap, which he wears alongside comically huge golden epaulets. He probably stole from a local theater. Without turning his gaze away from you, the awkward stranger slowly licks his upper lips and moans. His name is General Nasty. What are you doing here, young man? And I order sweets, but don't worry, I'll return such a succulent morsel back to the kitchen. That'd be a true crime. Now then, my name is General Nasty. Doesn't mean I can't be tender, though. The man slowly places the tip of his index finger on your chest. Is the boy here to join the ranks of the army of lovers? I have you know my precious child is already a member of the army. The Red Army. Why, you look nothing like the military, and only like someone who likes to put certain oblong objects into his mouth. You want to play like that, old man? Those oblong objects, of course, are toothbrushes. See how your teeth gleam and shine, ready to bite into the innocent flesh of my dear, humble, virginal child. Oh, that's what you meant. Oof. And this here is our local curiosity, Donald. They call him General Nasty. That's me, ready to molest and serve the nation. Okay, let's have a little chat. General Nasty snaps his fingers, and 2 pieces of cloth that are covering 2 tiny spots on his chest fall off, burying the General's large red nipples. He starts rubbing them and moaning as he bites on his lower lip. Hope these are not family-friendly questions. You ask me about my sex life? Ask me how I lifted soap in a bathhouse? Nah, I can see it in your eyes. You're gonna ask me normal questions, aren't you? Got my nipples out for nothing. What's your real name? Ask me my age too, why don't you? Fine. I forgive your curiosity, rude boy. You must really want to know what sort of boring name I'm covering with such a flamboyant handle. Well, I'm sorry for disappointing you, but my real name is also pretty wacky. Uranus Onanevich Genderov at your service, sweet buns. Just don't you dare call me by that name. I'm not that old, you know. Well, nice to meet you, Uranus. Why are you so flamboyant? Well, it's not because I'm gay if that's what you're thinking. I like girls as much as boys. Though even true man lovers are not all that flamboyant. Judging by my typical clients, they're mostly dull, boring, aging politicians and bankers. Some even have wives and kids. So am I acting the way I do? I don't really know. Because it's fun, probably. Come on, a middle-aged male prostitute who dresses like a hussar and acts like a drag queen? Isn't that fun? Oh, come on, give us a smile. At least a little one. Okay, how does the city treat someone like you? Oh, it's really strange. See, sometimes as I walk around town, I feel lots of folks want to kick my butt, throw some rocks at me, or call me names. But as soon as they attempt something like that, crap happens to them. A militiaman appears from nowhere and whacks them over the head. Or some assault rifle carrying, trench coat wearing dude shoots... Some assault rifle carrying, trench coat wearing dude shoots them where they stand. And all I do to get such amazing luck is I keep my mouth shut about my top-ranked clients. Weird, right? Any rumors? I love a good read, especially if it's something written by Ramses the Cook. He's such a female dog at times. Last issue I read, he visited this tavern way up north and ordered ordered fresh spider brains. And imagine this, they actually served him from frozen giant intestines instead. Oh, the amount of insults he had towards the owners at that point. It was so arousing. Too bad he doesn't write his column anymore. I hope nothing happened to him. Tell me about your army of lovers. General Nasty lifts his head up proudly. By your mere interest, you are already promoted to the rank of private. I'll call you Private Hardbuns. But do not worry, I'll not make you stand on your knees, close your eyes and open your mouth to pledge allegiance. Unless you want to. But still, you have to climb the ranks by helping a general in his need. What is this thrusting you speak of? My strategy is so simple, even a child would understand it. However, it's strictly for those of legal age. Have you ever heard this boring old theory that as civilization becomes more and more advanced, it also becomes more and more corrupt and morally bankrupt, normalizing sexual deviations and praising those who in all other times would be considered mentally ill degenerates? That's what happened to the Eldari civilization in Warhammer 40k. They became so advanced, and then they started becoming more and more depraved, and they gave birth to the Chaos God Slaanesh. Anyway. Well, honey buns, I believe this theory can also work the other way around. See, our civilization is in no way advanced, more like poor and borderline primitive. But if we introduce it to the highest levels of degeneracy, it might just push everyone in the right direction, towards success. For this push, we must create a porn film so perverse that everyone will start working for a better tomorrow. Well, as long as I'm paid. Don't worry about a thing, darling. Now on to the actors. First thing, I'll need another man. Someone like Bambula the strongman from the local mutant circus. I heard he was also great at swallowing swords. We'll also need some pretty ladies. Praskovia Pi, the dominatrix, and the cute, innocent little tightrope acrobat, Agafia, who has a lusty dark side, will do just right. They also reside in the circus. Such are the actors I picked. Now I need someone to actually go to the circus near that old plane crash spot and talk them into filming a porno with me. What say you, Private Hardbuns? I can be a very nice little general. I won't just pay you, I will also offer you to star in the movie for free. General Nasty takes out your map and sticks his manicured nail into a certain spot. It's the location of the circus he mentioned. Aye, oh general, my general. Moving to position. Alright, let's talk to this girl. The young lady who looks like she has been living the fast life looks at you with intent. After inhaling a drag from her cigarette, she asks you in a very low voice. So, soldier boy, looking for some love for your money? So how do you like your craft? You like doing what you do? Yeah, sure thing, soldier boy. My whole life, I never held anything heavier than a glass of vodka and, ciggy. Finding a job with the Chamber of Commerce is below me. I'm not about to become some sort of government slave. Care to answer some questions for me? Well, a charming fellow like you is allowed to chat with me anytime he wants. What's your name? Call me Donna, and don't tell me your name. Okay, I won't. Tell me about the city. Krasno is a good city. Heard from a couple of traveling journalists that Trudegrad is much more interesting. But I'm okay with staying here, where I know everyone. Good for you. What can you tell me about the Wastes? Don't know anything everyone else doesn't know. It's a dry, dead place that should not be visited without a good reason, unless you want some bandit to cut you up. Well, that's not too informative. Maybe you heard some rumors. They say there is this hidden bordello in Paragon, meant for extreme perverts. One of my gal pals tried to start working there, even found some people associated with the place, but then she just disappeared, not to be heard of ever again. Tell about your offer. That's what I love to hear. Okay then. It's 100 rubles for half an hour with rubber to... okay. Okay. Let us continue. We go to the Chamber of Commerce now. See what's going on in there. Or we could go to the Mushroom Cult. I want to talk to these two guys out here, actually. First thing. There was that one girl who was sitting on the bench further down previously. She's not there now. I think it was this girl. Let's see if I've talked to her yet. A woman in her 40s... oh, that guy's talking about vampires. A woman in her 40s with a barely visible gray streak in her hair and uneasy black eyes that dart around greets you with a good-natured smile. So we've met at last. You're an interesting man. A man from nowhere. Have we met before? That's a weird reaction to me. The woman winks at you and stifles a laugh. Not in person. Not in person. I, Igoria Mikhailovna, am free of any relationships and very open to interesting rumors. I've been interested in you ever since people started talking of some unknown man who came to the Otrinoye gate. So you've been to many... Sorry. You've been to many places so far, yet no one's recognized you, even though all the local residents have been to the suburbs at least once. You've turned up out of the blue, or perhaps from under the ground, eh? I'm a migrant worker. You know where curiosity led the cat. Don't repeat its mistake. Your strength makes quite an impression. The woman winces away in fear. How did you get so angry so quickly? I was just being curious. The woman has nothing to do, so she pokes her nose in other people's business. Relax, okay? Now that we understand each other, let's change the subject. Sure, why not? Can you answer a couple of questions? The woman waves dismissively if she's already been asked this too many times. You seem to like this, questioning people around. Let's just omit this, what's your name, and tell me about yourself. You pester everyone, or that you pester everyone with. We know that what you really want, don't we? Rumors. I have plenty of them. Sweet, fresh rumors. Alright, what do people say about the Chamber of Commerce? Everyone fights. We simple folk fight for bread and grain in a bottle, and they fight for power. They had a guy called Yashin. He was an interesting man, climbed up the career ladder, and then his so-called friends, fellow chamber officials, ate him alive and spat out the bones. Now he sells some crap in Otrinoye, like a total loser, because at some point he failed to take a hint, as far as I know. Goodness gracious. Oh yeah, I forgot I started that quest for that guy. Are there any rumors circulating in the suburbs? The most discussed rumor is standing next to you. Yeah, Fidel? You remember Margarita, my friend, whose husband lay conscious while you two... Fidel passes his finger across his throat imperceptibly and makes an angry face. Did absolutely nothing. Nothing at all. This is what I call fidelity and true friendship between a man and a woman. What do people talk about in the city center? They harbor no trust to the police after the recent intake, all because of a couple bad eggs. There are good people among them who fulfill their duty, but even they will cover up for a corrupt officer in their ranks. Why? This makes people think them all trash. Are there any rumors from other regions? A friend from the far west sends me postcards sometimes, and the latest one she warns me not to go to bed during a storm. The village is of the bigger ones, and after one night storm, all the villagers had the same dream, about a voice in the dark, and a yellow arm in the doorway, and blah blah blah. So terrible it was they couldn't work for a day after that. They were still shaking. Okay, well, I think you're Margarita, right? Yeah. Alright, let's talk to this vampire guy, because he kind of blends in. Or her. A finely dressed woman of around 40 nods to you in greeting. As you walk up to her, you notice that she has the most new-looking and shiny shoes you've ever seen in your life. They color deep red and are even decorated with bright silver ribbons. Yes? The shoes look so good, there simply must be a good story behind them. The woman smiles, showing somewhat yellowed but still healthy teeth. Not just any story, an action-packed story for sure. My word, I would love to hear it. Oh, a lover of folktales, are we? Just like Shurik from that old movie, The Caucasus Captive. Anyway, sometimes I work as a lawyer, so one day I had to go oversee a deal being closed between a member of the Chamber of Commerce and some merchant. I went with a convoy on a truck through the mountain pass of woes. At one moment of our trip, the driver, named Slavik, noticed that a storm was brewing in the mountains. Driving further became dangerous, so we found a small house near the road. I ran to it and started hammering on the door. After 10 minutes or so, a toothless old hag opened the door for me. She had a huge crooked nose and a pointy hat. I started begging her to let us in to sit through the storm, but she just said a harsh no. Meanwhile, the wind became furious, small trees were being bent to the ground. I was so desperate. I continued begging her to let us stay in her house, but instead of doing the right thing, she fished out a squirrel and a stick from her purse and started waving it around, yelling that she will curse me if I don't go away. The wind became almost unbearable by that moment. I became so desperate, I even thought of simply overpowering the old hag and getting in her house without an invitation. But then, in a terrible gust of wind, the top of her house collapsed. Crash, slam. When the dust settled, only the old hag's legs were visible in the rubble. Guess it was a good thing she didn't let us in after all. We had to wait out the storm inside the truck. We were like canned sardines, all on top of one another in the tiny space. After the sky cleared, we searched the remains of the old hag's home. There, under her bed, I found those shoes. They were in a pre-war box, never opened, never worn. She was probably saving them for a burial. Wow, now that's a story. Let's change the subject. Let's have a chat. Tell me about yourself. Where is my etiquette? I am Ella Orgorodova. I work as a bookkeeper for the Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to Krasno. How do you like your job? Well, I am quite pleased by it. I work from home or from an office in the Chamber of Commerce building. I'm generally liked and well respected by my peers, and well educated too. None of that modern word-of-mouth teaching stuff. I have a real university degree. How's life in the city? I think it's okay, at least here in the center. There are even people who started believing humanity actually has a future. I wouldn't go that far, but I'm content with life as well. Well, why won't you believe in the future? Any good stories? They say an editor from Trudegrad's finest print house is staying at the inn, together with a photo correspondent. What do they want to write about? I hope they will ask me for an interview about bookkeeping. Yeah, okay. Hi, vampire man. Come here. Man around 50 with matted gray hair, wearing a dusty suit, looks at you with a sad smile and a deep gaze as you come closer. He holds out a soft, although a bit shaky hand for you to shake, and you do it without even thinking. It's a good day today, my friend. My speech has finally touched someone's heart. I am Svyatoslav Granovich, the oppositionist, the friend of truth and democracy. How might I shift the lead fog that covers your the lead fog that covers your brain today? Who do you pose exactly? The man points to the Chamber of Commerce building with a theatrical gesture. Who else would I oppose with my work? Only those uneducated little tyrants that off the blood and sweat of us working people. Those communist vampires are calling themselves the Chamber of Commerce, but in reality they are nothing but puppets in the hands of Adam. What did the Chamber of Commerce ever do to you? What? What? The Chamber of Commerce is the continuation of the regressive Soviet regime that punished me by making me take antipsychotics, and even now hunts all those who dare say the truth. My god, why just yesterday one of the crooked militiamen of this city came over to me and said, if your crazy ramblings were not as pathetic, we'd already jail you. See how close I am to being in prison, young man? What other civilized country has such a regime? Isn't the Chamber of Commerce denying the very existence of Adam? The man touches his ear. I don't have the patience to hear such silly assumptions. Can't you see this is just a cover-up? Sure, they deny Adam exists, but they serve it anyway. The Chamber of Commerce is a dirty, brown stain on the underpants of history, and Adam is a remnant of their KGB overlords. So what's your alternative to the rule of the Chamber of Commerce? The man starts thinking hard. Well, first off, I want to make this law that allows you to say anything you want in the city of Krasno. Freedom of speech. That's it. Yeah. And also I want to make everyone say they're sorry for the crimes of Stalin's regime. And I want a monetary compensation for being a martyr for freedom. For all those years they held me in a mental institution. Alright, let's change the subject. Can you answer some questions? The man smiles, but his eyes keep on some existential gloom. God. Ugh. Rough stuff. What can you tell me about yourself? What can I say about myself? I'm just a simple martyr, one of millions of those violated and murdered for speaking the truth. Well, I wasn't murdered yet. Those bastards are probably afraid of causing an international conflict. I'm widely known to the Western press, you know. I had radio interviews, I read lectures, I made slide presentations. They call me an anti-Soviet dissident. They painted me crazy, they made me take my temperature... and give me some of my blood for testing to the underground halls of criminal psychiatry. Psychiatry. Jeez, I am struggling. But even after the bloody Soviet Empire was finally destroyed in a nuclear blast, my fight wasn't over. I'm still struggling for peace. How's life in Krasno? The man's face grows red, his nostrils flare, his knuckles go white. Well, what can I say about this city of post-Soviet remnants who made it into an ungodly nest of communist tyranny, where people are prosecuted for the simple wish of saying the truth. Every day I pray that God destroys this place while I am taking my evening stroll in the woods. Got the wish you got there, buddy. What do you do for a living, friend? I gather mushrooms. I do odd jobs and hunt giant ants sometimes. Why? Why would an intellectual such as myself stoop to such low-end jobs? Because they didn't allow me to work like I wanted. I went to them. I went to the members of the Chamber of Commerce. I begged them to give me some money to start my own libertarian newspaper called Death to the Chamber of Commerce, and they simply said no. Probably hoping I will die from starvation with no job at hand. Yeah, how could they? Wow, such evil. Any rumors? The most interesting thing I heard is that Adam, the accursed remnant of the old regime's army, sent an agent into the wastes. Why? I don't know. Probably to cause more evil and tyranny. Okay. Interesting. Alright, let's talk to this guy. You see a man wearing a shiny silver unitard, as well as a queer helmet that has a metallic chicken waddle of some kind on the top. As the man spots you, he jumps up, hits himself in the chest, shows you the palm of his hand, moves his index finger and middle fingers as far apart as he's able in a strange, exotic gesture you've never seen before. Zing Zing Bioform. My designation is Xander P603, or how people in your timeline like to say, "Howdy, comrade communist. My name is Xander P603. Surprisingly enough, the usually xenophobic old man Hexagen repeats the stranger's gesture. Zing Zing, dear guest from the future. Oh my, but how did you know I come from the future? Oh, young man, or should I say, not even born man. You're talking to the father of the Soviet science fiction, a co-author of the erotic epic Elita, and the fascist pamphlet known as the Buratino the Wooden Child. Look at you, that cheap-looking silver unitard, that moronic waddle upon your head, those tiny pig eyes. You're obviously a time traveler. Hey, my eyes aren't that tiny. At least my mom says so. Nice to meet you, Xander P603. They call me Donald. The man smiles and jumps into the air out of joy. That means my calculations were correct. Unimportant historical figure Donald. His temporal projection asks you for help in a moment of need. The recent future where I am from is in danger, and only you can help history go on a more noble path. Please, I beg of you to listen to my words. We scientists use all the energy of our experimental time machine to send me here. We won't have a second chance. Hold up, are you seriously telling me you're from the future? That makes me want to ask some follow-up questions. The man slumps his shoulders and bends over. His waddle smacks him on the nose. The historians of my time told me that you asked at least 4 questions to every single person you met. Many believe this to be an exaggeration, but now I see it was the truth. Fine. Ask away and I shall answer. Why did you call me an unimportant historical figure? Every bit of information known about you is warped by the so-called Duggar-Faltz phenomena. Let me explain it this way. Some historical documents describe you as a great hero, a picker of corn, a helper of riders, a killer of bandits, a revolutionary paragon, and a beacon of democracy for Ultradoye. Other documents describe you as a petty criminal, a thief and a right bastard. Still, other documents tell us you were a psycho who killed every single person you met. The paradox is this. All of these contradictory sources are 100% legit and have proof behind them. So instead of picking one, we decided not to trust any of them. Well, if there's a whole paradox linked to my name, how come I'm an unimportant historical figure? Oh, no. There are thousands of people touched by the Duggar-Faltz phenomena. You're just one in a sea of uncertain historical figures. Okay. Why are you making this stuff up? Time travel isn't a thing. You're a grown man. Just stop. I'm not going to say that. If you have only one chance of using this machine of yours, why did you travel further into the past and stop the last war? After listening to your question, Xander goes pale and covers his face with his hands. He keeps silence for over a minute. After that, he speaks, voice trembling. That's such a smart idea. God, why haven't we thought of that? Why? Well, I see the future as sort of idiots, just like the present. If you're for real, tell me how your time machine works. It's very simple. The real me is standing in my secret lab. Why else would I be dressed so casually, as if I'm planning to spend my day riding a Myrmosaurus or playing 4D chess? My image and voice are being transferred into the past with the help of a specially encoded subatomic particles that are made to go faster than light in my portative Caliderotron. Caliderotron, yeah, I said that right. The encoding also made me visible only to you and like-minded people. I wanted to catch you lying, but got technobabble instead. Next question. Why are you making all this stuff up? Time travel isn't even a thing. You're a grown man. Just stop. Okay, comrade smart guy. If I'm not from the future, then why am I wearing a silver unitard? Why is there a silver waddle on my head? Where are my pants? Go on, explain it, comrade skeptic. Good point. Alright. What sort of help are you looking for? Xander P603 opens his hand and draws an invisible circle with his fingers. His gesture probably expresses joy, since he looks pretty happy after completing it. In the name of the Holy Bolt Boy, the first robotic saint, I am so glad you decided to hear me out. Now, person from the past, know this. In less than half a century from now, a small party of humanity will rise from the atomic ashes. It will then create a technically advanced, futuristic utopia far away from here in the mountains. That won't mean a happy ending for everyone, though. Some people still struggle in the wild eastern wastes. We also share a border with a country whose people became a single hive mind organism. And there's this terrible menace I'd rather not talk about today. And also, Xander sobs. Also, a terrible bloody dictator and tyrant conquered my amazing country right after it became a violence-free utopia. The name of this disgusting, sadistic, all-powerful god king is Ilya Kuznetsov, the ruler of heaven, earth, and the 9 hells. He and his gang of ruffians and brutes quickly overtook our glorious country. They made us use serial numbers instead of last names, as if we were cattle. He also changed our first names into silly, made-up abominations such as Xander or Beatrutron. He made the population walk on their knees begging for food. Also, to fight our urge to resist, he created a law of obligatory medicinal crime preventative beatings. Every day and every night, a special social worker has to slap every citizen of our country in the face at least once for no reason. And sometimes the social workers hit you with the backside of their hand. And some of them are married, so they have metal rings on their fingers to slap you even harder. And some even have rings on all their fingers, since we're a polyamorous society. Xander covers his face and starts weeping. Oh. Oh yeah, what a nightmare. How can I help you, noble people of the future? While learning the biography of the mighty yet terrible God King, the demonic dictator Ilya Kuznetsov is obligatory for all, so everyone knows the exact date his parents decided to have a child. It happened this year in a terrible circus filled with mutants. That one may find near here. Jeez. Please, friend, help the future. Oh my goodness. Sorry, I need to collect myself. I cannot read worth a toot this morning. People of the future beg you, find the tyrant's parents and make them hate the idea of having kids. So let the monstrous Ilya Kuznetsov be born. Strange man takes a map of the waste out of his pocket and points to a certain location. Yeah, hold on, what will I get for this job? Xander smiles and winks at you. Oh, you're gonna love that part. I'm ready to pay you 1 million in your timeline's currency. Yes, you heard right. A whole million. Maybe even more. Oh boy. That sounds really good. Okay, got another quest at the circus. Let's talk to this guy. It's a tall, mustached man aged around 30 in a slightly modified police uniform. While his shiny cap reminds you of lawmen of earlier centuries, his huge boots, giant belts, and other knickknacks seem kind of futuristic. His weird looks become even stranger when you notice that there's a huge gas-powered chainsaw hanging from his belt. It's the Truzba brand, used to down huge trees in the wild, but modified with a long, sturdy handle like that of a sword. Yeah, you, get over here. The man's voice, deep and scary, but at the same time somewhat melodical, makes you freeze in your tracks. The man looks you over. So he's obviously a reminiscent of a Commissar from Warhammer 40k, who use chain swords. Anyway, one nose, 2 ears, eyes show at least some intelligence. I can see you're no mutant, and since you're not a mutant, how about joining the Red Guard of Lenin, comrade? Die for the General Secretary today, because tomorrow might be too late. Finally, I meet someone who makes total sense. I am ready for service. The man lifts up a brow and stares at you. Really now? Sure thing, got my wrath, Commander. Oh. The mustache man lowers his gaze in shame. You're not expecting this much from such a strong guy. See, nowadays people are not what they used to be. Everyone wants to know how much the job pays, or at least what the mission is all about. Nobody rushes to battle blindly anymore. That's why I was surprised by your tone, Greenhorn. I'd really like to learn of the details. Ignorance is bliss, future guard. Wisdom pushes towards heresy. How's that quote go? It's, blessed the mind too small for doubt. Everyone should know what he's going to die for, I guess. So I should tell you what it might seem like crazy talk at first, but actually isn't. Alright, I'll hear you out. After the war, humanity was set back a thousand of years, but technologically and morally. That led to the creation of various weirdo cults, which took the blatant parodies of cheap sci-fi novels of the past and thrived on the stupidity of the common man. Sometimes the only things that hold such organizations in place are misguided interpretations of historical truth or the object idiocy of their members. Yeah, sure. The worst thing about crackpot organizations like that is that they sometimes doubt the reality of the Red Guard of Lenin, a true and honest real-life organization that was created back in 1917 to battle mutant hordes. And its creator? Why, it was the immortal Lenin, a mighty telepath, a true champion of humanity, who guides us from the glass bed of Kremlin. Yeah, so for those of you who aren't familiar with Warhammer 40k, there's multiple factions, of course, but the Imperium of Man is ruled over by the Emperor of Mankind, or just the Emperor. He was mortally wounded during the Horus Heresy, and he guides humanity from the Golden Throne. He's also known as the Corpse Emperor, because he's basically a comatose half-skeleton, but he's has such great psychic abilities, he's still able to guide mankind. This is all just a big reference to the Warhammer 40k universe. And also, Mankind in Warhammer 40k are very much against mutants, heretics, xenos, so they're very, very purist in that regard. Anyway, this is so interesting. Never heard that story. All emotions distinguished from the man's face. You only see his inspiring faith and loyalty that shine in his eyes. Have you ever heard of Vladimir Lenin? What can you tell me about him? Are you talking about the Russian revolutionary, scholar of Marxism, and Soviet political leader? Smoke and mirrors, illusions and pseudoscience. First of all, Vladimir Lenin was never a mere mortal. He also wasn't a mushroom or a radio wave, even though some people think so. He was more of an entity, a combination of the best minds in human history that mixed together in one body. Also, the Emperor of Mankind, how he was born, a bunch of shamans combined their spirits together to birth the Emperor, and that's why he has such strong psychic abilities, because he's a combination of all these shamans whose psychic powers were combined into one body. It's pretty good. They got their lore down. Fathers of Communism, Marx and Engels, Ryder Chernivsky, Battle Maidens Clara Zetkin and Rosa Luxemburg have always known that capitalism will one day destroy humanity, making every man a slave to his unfair workspace. They knew that money will push people, make them mutate into disgusting abominations, deaf to the desperate, hungry cries of the starving masses. But they also knew that they cannot stop this terrible future on their own. Oh, Dos Mios, where do people like that one even come from? The Commissar throws a look of hatred at Fidel, but says nothing. Keep listening to the man in silence. Marx, Engels, Zetkin, and the rest saw only one way to stop capitalism. A truly noble way. So they gathered in a snowy Russian town of Simbirsk and killed themselves in a huge pentagram, only to be reborn 6 months later as one being known as Vladimir Lenin. Thus, the mighty Lenin started leading the people to heaven on earth. He threw the heretical religions of the past into trash. He started telling people to study more. He turned a terrible war-filled century into the golden age of communism. So initially, when the Emperor started conquering the galaxy with humanity and his angels of death, the Astartes, Adeptus Astartes, it was a very secular society. Basically, he was abolishing all religion, any sort of faith. It was going to be purely science. And if you're interested, I recommend looking up the lore. Warhammer has some amazing lore. But he was doing that so that it's not important. Let's just keep reading. And when his body started to give out under pressure of his giant mind, he placed himself into the glass bed of Kremlin to telepathically guide his people to salvation for all eternity. So the Emperor got mortally wounded by his the greatest Primarch Horus during the Horus Heresy, and that's why he was interred into the Golden Throne. Anyway, he does that through special channeling statues that are placed in every corner of our motherland. Sounds quite logical. Sure thing, it's logical because it's true. What are you telling me? I don't get it. The man points to the statue of Lenin nearby. Lenin's statues are actually powerful conduits for Lenin's astral powers. He talks to his worshippers through them. Until these statues stand, the capitalist can nuke us all he likes. We'll survive. But now, one of the statues is in trouble. A horde of moral and possibly even physical mutants, degenerates known as the scrap dealers, wishes to melt it down and sell it to heartless metal merchants. I've gathered 2 groups of battle brothers, which is a rank in the Adeptus Astartes legions, or chapters. But without a wise commander, they would not succeed at storming the well-defended scrapyard, where these monsters keep the statue. Tell me that you're ready to charge at the forces of chaos and bring glory to the General Secretary, as well as a noble death to yourself and all those who are crazy enough to follow you. Yeah, for Lenin, let's save this darn statue. Hand me your map. The man opens the palm of his hand and awaits until you place your map in it. After that, he draws a crude mark onto the map and returns it. You will now go to this location. There you aid other guards who will stand against the mutated horde, heretical enough to steal the statue of Great Lenin. Let your eyes not get fooled by their looks, Greenhorn. Your enemy is not human. They are mutants, of the worst kind. Political and ideological mutants. It's when you get to keep your body looking like normal, but your mind and soul turn to capitalism. When you finish a good fight, report back to me. Understood? Yes. All glory to the USSR, my brother. Time for talking is now over. Only heroism and a glorious death await you now. That's awesome. I love all the references in his little spiel. Because I am a huge Warhammer 40k fan, and Warhammer fantasy fan. It's my favorite sci-fi and fantasy world. Alright, how long have I been recording? I think we're going to call it here. The next episode we'll explore the Chamber of Commerce. And that'll probably take an entire episode as well, and the next one we'll go to the Mushroom Cult. Actually, no, let's go explore the subdivision real quick. Then we'll call it an episode. So much reading. Was it gonna be like 5 or 6 episodes just in Krasno? That's crazy. But the writing in this game is really good. I'm glad I'm reading all of it. Alright, so there's nothing over here. Awesome. Yeah, I already explored these houses. Alright, well, I'm going to call the episode here, and the next one we'll explore the Chamber of Commerce, and then the Mushroom Cult. We'll finish up Krasno, and then I'm going to focus on the timed quests. So I have two. One takes 4 days. I have to finish one of them in 4 days, the other one I have to finish in 3 days. So anyway, thanks for watching, and hope to see y'all in the next episode.